Hey, me and Matt here, and I'm Killer Kyle. Welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. Hey, me and Matt here. This is Killer Kyle, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. And this is the new installment of Look Back at the Year series.
Yeah, I was talking with Matt, and it's like, we've done some look backs at pay-per-views. We'll select a year, we'll select a pay-per-view, and talk about it. And we've covered quite a bit, but there's still so much to cover. So why don't we do this? We pick a year, and we'll pick 3 pay-per-views, give or take, from said year, and we'll talk about them. So we decided to kick this thing off with and we're going to get into it right now, talking about WCW's big event, Bash at the Beach, from 1997.
Yes, 1997. I was in 7th grade, 13 years old. I know Kyle was still a fetus.
Yeah, by the time when you were 13, I would have been 97. It would have been. Let's see, we're 5 years apart, so I would have been 6. 7?
Yeah, 6 is about right. No, you would have been 7.
Yeah, 7.
Nevertheless, this was, me not being a WCW guy, watching bits and pieces of it over the years. So I wasn't that familiar with it. Yeah, I read the magazines and everything, but it wasn't like I was a hardcore fan like I was with WWF. So I didn't know too much about it. And I know that the year prior you had the infamous NWO with Hogan joining Hall and Nash.
Yep.
So this is going to be interesting. And I tried to find footage. And that's a problem with a lot of these videos, is trying to find footage.
That's the one thing. We do look backs at pay-per-views. And let's say we do a look back at a WWF pay-per-view, whatever year it may be. Go on YouTube, and chances are you'll be able to find a highlight package from whatever pay-per-view, whatever year. WCW, we've done a few of those, and yeah, you've been able to find footage of it, but WCW, it's difficult for some reason.
Like, if YouTube doesn't have it, then you go to Dailymotion. If Dailymotion doesn't have it, Vimeo may or may not have it. So, it's kind of fucking difficult.
Yeah.
And you do find bits and pieces of that, some matches, but it's still very hard to find.
Yeah.
But, we've done that before. We'll give it a best shot.
Yeah, we'll give her a back shot and see how she goes.
Yeah.
If Matt has a hard time reading that, I can always...
Oh, yeah. We're reading it. Yeah, well, whatever.
So, we kick things off with a tag team match. You got Wrath and Mortis with James Vanderberg, that's his name, defeating Glacier and Ernest the Cat Miller. Somebody call A's mama.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, this was obviously, we all know Ernest Cat Miller, one of the biggest wrestlers of the 90s, I think 80s as well.
Yeah.
And in many different promotions. And then you have Glacier, and for some reason I didn't put it together thinking that Glacier was actually PCO. Not the case. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Mortis and Wrath.
Yeah.
When I saw these guys, they looked badass.
Oh yeah, of course. It was Wrath that was it Brian Clark? Was Adam Bomb,
Yes.
the WWF? And Mortis, I was under a mask, we couldn't really tell who he was. And yeah, Mortis was a very interesting character because he had kind of like a skull type mask, and he wore green and black and a little bit of silver in it. It was like the evil, dark, I don't even know really what to call it. Because like, it was almost Kane and Undertaker, but like Kane and Undertaker were completely different from
Yeah.
Wrath and Mortis. And Wrath and Mortis were like,
Was like, yeah, Kane and Undertaker meets Mortal Kombat.
in a way, yeah. And of course, Glacier was a unique character. He had like the martial arts background, and I don't even remember where they said he was from. And of course, Ernest Miller is the dancing, goofy guy, but he can wrestle very well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could put Ernest Miller in the same category as Disco Inferno and Alex Wright. And it seemed like all they gave a shit was themselves, and their looks and their dance moves and dancing and pandering in the crowd and all this other stuff. But yeah, they all were actually very good wrestlers.
Yeah. Now we have the Cruiserweight title. We got Chris Jericho, who defeated Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah, Ultimo Dragon, one of those guys that is not very much talked about. He was a very, very big name in WCW and in Japan.
Yes.
And he held every single title you could possibly think of. The Cruiserweight title, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, and any, like, what you would consider, like, kind of like a Cruiserweight type championship in different promotions. And, like, he would come to the ring, and he would have, like, he was managed for a little while by Sonny Ono. And he would come to the ring, and no word of a lie, would have probably 15 championships with him.
Oh, I know. This guy was Kenny Omega before, like, one of the few guys that actually held a lot of championships to the ring. Like, yes, that back then was unheard of.
Yeah, like, basically you could say Ultimo Dragon was Kenny Omega before Kenny Omega was even a huge deal.
Yeah,
That's how good this guy was. And, it's unfortunate that he's not talked about more because he was an extremely fantastic wrestler. Like, you could list off a laundry list of matches he had and opponents he had matches with, and they were all just extremely good. And I think the sad part of it is, as good as Ultimo Dragon was in the ring and wrestling, you know, the number upon number upon number of championships he held, he's underrated.
Yeah. Like, even his time in WWF, well, WWE at this point, and yes, I knew he was a WCW wrestler, just like Rey Mysterio, and Eddie, and, you know, Radicals, all those guys. He was one of the underrated luchadors, cruiserweights, whatever you want to call them. You know, but yeah, definitely a guy that, if he's not, should be in a WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And you know, to me, Ultimo Dragon falls under the category of, you know, many men I've mentioned before. If you're Ultimo Dragon in the list, you know, your Nuji Nagatas, your Minoru Suzuki's, your
Kenta Kobashi,
Mizawa, Satoshi Kojima,
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Well, I'm more going towards like
the old school guys.
the old school, you can say Japanese legends,
Yeah.
that are drastically, like, they're known of, but like not nearly as referenced to, you could say, on the caliber of like your Dusty Rhodes, your Ric Flairs, your Buddy Rogers,
Yeah.
your Bruno Sammartinos, your Nick Bockwinkel's, your Bob Backlund's, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got Chris Jericho. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's another guy who really is one of the GOATs in professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, hands down.
You have a man who won many championships. You got Smoky Mountain, you've got WCW,
Mhm.
you've got New Japan, you got CMLL, maybe AAA, you have WWE, ECW. This guy was and still is one of the best wrestlers. I mean, the shit that he's doing now in AEW, you know, you talk about Rhino.
Yeah.
Chris does not age.
Oh yeah. Like, talk about how Rhino's 46 and looking like he's 25 and he can still kick ass in the ring.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Jericho's 50, so he's a few years older than Rhino, and he looks like he's
Mm,
40s, maybe. Anyways.
about, yeah.
But he can still fucking hang with the young kids.
Oh yeah.
Now we're on to another tag team match. We got the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott, against the Great Buddha and a guy that I think in the same, you know, laundry list of guys I named just a few minutes ago of well-known guys that are talked about but not highly regarded in a list of like the huge, like, majorly respected legends of the business. Masahiro Chono.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. In this match, I saw a little bit of two different styles. You know, the Japanese strong style, and then you've got, I don't even know what the hell you would call it. I mean, this is the point where Scott started to get bigger. He had his hair longer still.
Yeah.
You know, he was slowly turning into the big bad booty daddy, as we all knew later on.
Right.
And then, of course, the dog-faced gremlin, Rick Steiner. You know, these guys had one of the best WWF, WCW. I think they spent some time, a little bit, even for a cup of coffee in ECW. They were in else where other companies before that.
WCW and WWF were the two main
Yeah,
companies they were with. I don't recall them being in WCW.
ECW.
Or ECW, yeah. They did do a little bit of work, New Japan,
Yeah,
and, well, Scott and Rick, Scott more than Rick, both did wrestle for TNA.
that's right, yes. Yeah, and you know, it is a shame that, and it happens, you know, when you think of the Hardy Boys. It
Yeah.
seems like Jeff Hardy, well, more so Matt nowadays. But you have that, and then you have, like, Booker T and Stevie Ray. Well,
Mhm.
Booker T would be the main focus. The Steiner brothers, Scott was the more popular of the two. Rick,
Kinda, yeah.
it's just that Rick didn't have, unfortunately, that popularity. Look at his feud with Chucky. But the fact is that, yeah, we could have seen more of him. Now, his son is on NXT, so we'll see where that goes,
Yep.
you know. But yeah, Steiner Brothers won.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it was kind of one of those things where, yeah, they were a good tag team. It's just that I wish one got a little bit more just like the other. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, they both, as a tag team, they did very, very well. But once they split, like, Rick had some success, but it seemed to be Scott got more of the success than Rick did. Although, I think it got to a point, though, in Rick's career where I think he did eventually decide to hang up the boots. I'm not exactly sure when it was, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there it is.
With Juventud Guerrera, Hector Garza, Liz Marca Jr. against La Parka, Psicosis, and Villano 4.
The Villano 4, yes, of course. Yeah, Hector Garza. Here's a guy that was very popular in CMLL. And watching CMLL in 2009, 2010, and watching his matches, and this guy, much like his nephew, you know, a very unique style.
Yes.
You know, coming into the ring with a jumpsuit on or whatever, having his match, stopping his opponent, ripping his pants off, finishing, continuing, then ripping his shirt off.
It was generally the shirt first and then the pants, but like, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways,
And of course, Hector Garza was, he's a Rick Rude of that time period.
yeah,
Just a little different because, like, you know, ladies, ooh, ah,
Yeah,
ooh. Ladies loved him. And, you know, Hector was actually fairly decent shape.
yeah, oh god, yeah.
Like, he wasn't, you know, overly jacked, and he wasn't, let's say, pudgy, chubby,
No,
whatever you want to call it. He was,
no, that's kind of why it surprises me that he's gone now.
right, yeah, he was right in between it. Yeah, I don't know if it was a case of, like, Hector get into had an alcohol problem or drug problem, or he passed naturally.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard.
Whatever the case is, but yeah, definitely one of the more unique performers in the business, but also like one of those guys that, for the size that he was, I'd say probably 6'3", 200 and I don't know, 60 pounds maybe roughly.
Yeah.
And he could do fucking outstanding athletic moves.
Right.
Much like, Keith Lee or Ivar, the Viking Raiders,
Sure.
or whatever. Yeah. And again, even with Hector, a guy that is, as talented as he was in the ring, yeah, you could kind of say he's a legend, but, another guy drastically underrated.
Oh, I know.
For, what a unique and talented performer he was.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, you have a lot of these guys like Mystico or Blue Panther or La Sombra. And these guys definitely were one of the best luchadors in CMLL. And then they go to places like WCW and maybe ECW. And that's why I wish I was a fan of WCW. Because you had guys from All Japan or New Japan or CMLL or AAA.
Yeah. And this is one of out of the number of look backs we've done so far, there's been, I'll say, 10 maybe in that ballpark of look backs we've done and have had Hector involved in a match of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
In it.
Yeah. And I mean, when you look at his nephew carrying on that legacy, and it's like, doing a lot of really good work in Impact Wrestling, and then going off to AAA, and going on to WWE. WWE, I would never have imagined seeing a Garza in WWE. And that is pretty fucking cool, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I believe Hector did do a little bit of work with, at the time, WWE. I'm not 100%
yeah,
sure.
for sure. Well, yeah, I think you're right. He did. I know that we did talk about, I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but enough about him.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah.
And we just saw him a month ago at least.
Yeah, him and
Chris
Jericho.
Yeah. And I don't know how old he is, but goddamn can he still
Oh
go.
yeah, he can still go too. I'd say Hoovy's probably, I'd say around Jericho's age at least. Maybe not 50, but 40s-ish, I would say. And yeah, he can still go like he's fucking 25.
Yeah. And Parka passed away a while ago. Yes. But again, another great luchador.
Yeah.
And there's others that duplicate him, but
Yeah.
still.
There's many that duplicate it, but nobody could ever hold a candle, as the saying goes, to the Parka. That was interesting.
Villano is another one that's a legend in Mexico.
Yeah, they got like 5, 7. It's like a family of them, at least, of the Villanos.
Yeah.
Villanos. And yeah, Lismark Jr. Not overly familiar with. I'm pretty sure I did see him wrestle. If I saw a picture of him, I probably fucking remember him. But I don't remember a whole lot of Lismark Jr.
I know I must have seen matches with him.
Yeah. I was just trying to see if, like, they're, like, usually if you put the cursor over somebody, they'll come up, picture with them, and I thought, did that with Les Mack Jr. and saw a picture of him, I remember him, but probably look it up later. Anyways, yeah. So now we've got what they're calling a retirement match. You got, I remember matches with these two gentlemen. Chris Benoit and the Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Kevin Sullivan. And these two dudes, oh my god, they beat the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
Like, Benoit always had that physical style, and Sullivan equaled it just as much, and yeah, these guys pulverized the shit out of each other.
Oh god, yeah.
I think it was if Benoit beat Sullivan and Sullivan retired. I think that might have been what it was. Of course, Benoit did pick up the victory in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, matches with those two guys, oh man.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where you have Benoit and Nancy Sullivan
Yeah.
get together.
True.
Enough of that. But anyways, this was, yeah. And of course, Kevin Sullivan, one of the most odd individuals that can ever be.
Oh, absolutely. Odd, but yet, when it came to in-ring work, like, his promos were very mysterious and out there and off the wall. Yeah, when it came to his in-ring work, he was very, very good. Like, he had that, what would you say, kind of Buzz Sawyer,
Yeah.
Arn Anderson type of style, just straightforward, in your face, relentless style.
And yeah, here's a guy that was portrayed as the personified evil.
Mhm.
The metal, if you will. This guy had the makeup, he had the attitude, he had and the early vignettes with Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
That I wish I would have seen in high school. Like,
Oh yeah.
and that's crazy.
Yeah, very unique.
So, yeah, very interesting individual.
Yeah. And we're on to a match for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. You got Double J himself, Jeff Jarrett, going one-on-one with Mongo, Steve McMichael.
Yeah. I just saw a video a few weeks ago, and we all know that Steve has ALS. And there was a video where he was being interviewed in his bed with his wife, who's obviously his nurse as well. And it's really sad to see that. Like, I didn't know what to expect. Like, right now, he seems like he's with it.
Right.
But who knows? Time will only tell.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just crazy how life could just take you like that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and being a football player, one of the many professional wrestlers that started playing football, and it really pisses me off when I hear, well, I don't know why these wrestlers today, they're models and they're this, they're that, they're not even really professional wrestlers. Okay. Well, you want to fucking look at Ron Simmons and Steve McMichael and Steve Austin and
Brian Pillman
and Bill Goldberg. Those
Jim
guys,
Neidhart.
yep, these guys were fucking playing football. You got Randy Savage, who came from baseball.
Yep.
So don't fucking tell me otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jeff Jarrett ended up getting the victory in this one. Then we go on to a tag team match with Scott Hall and the guy that Matt just mentioned. Hey, I just happen to be wearing his shirt. Macho Man Randy Savage taking on the master of the Diamond Cutter, DDP, and Kurt Hennig.
Mm-hmm. I kind of looked at this match and I'm going, wow, comes full circle. Because not long ago, before that, I mean, it was still 1992, but you had Scott Hall as Razor Ramon.
Yep.
Costing Randy Savage the WWF title to Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And them having a lengthy feud. And now you have Scott Hall and Randy Savage teaming together. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see that alone. I mean, yeah, like I said, it just comes full circle, I guess.
Oh, yeah. That's how not odd. That's just how the wrestling business goes. You could be rivals one moment, the next moment you're fucking tag team partners.
Yeah.
Or allies of some kind. And you got Scott and Randy winning the match.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be Randall Clark. Match. You got the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, and Old Slick Rick Flair. Yeah, two guys that were well past their prime. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know about Rick necessarily, but you know, Hot Rod was
Well,
well past his
yeah,
prime.
I mean, Rick is older, but still. Yeah, these two guys, I didn't even see the match, so I don't know what you're talking about. But these two guys did have a history, you know, dating back to NWA,
Yeah,
you know, imagine that, Roddy Piper managing Ric Flair, like,
yeah,
that's crazy. And, you know, Rick is arguably, to some people, one of the best wrestlers in history. And that's fine, you could say that. I mean, we look at the things he did back in the early 70s before the plane crash.
yeah,
You look at everything he did in NWA and WCW and WWF and everything else. Then, yeah, you look at Ric Flair and that's that. But
Yeah.
then you go on to Roddy Piper. And the guy, and then the reason that I would say Roddy Piper treatment is he didn't get a fair chance in WWF. Because just as quickly as he won the Intercontinental title, he lost it, like probably a month or two later,
yeah,
and never got nothing back.
yeah.
Now, yes, it came full circle once again. 2003, Ric Flair and Roddy Piper winning the, SmackDown Tag Team titles.
Yeah. Definitely a interesting dynamic in that aspect. Now, Hot Rod did win this match. It says by technical submission. So,
Could have been a sleeper, I don't know.
yeah, that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah.
The sleeper. And the main event, yet again another tag team match. That's what, 5 on the card? Anyways, you got the Total Package, Lex Luger, and the Giant, Big Show, Paul White, whichever, against an interesting dynamic of a team. Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Former basketball player Dennis Rodman.
Yes, WCW had this thing. And you know, I try to think about why it's WWF/WWE that's sports entertainment. Because you look at WCW, you had Dennis Rodman, you had Jay Leno, you had some other basketball players.
Carmelo.
Malone, yes.
You had, as mentioned, Steve McMichael. You also had Kevin Green.
I mean, yes, I know that WWF has had their share of other sports in the company.
Yeah.
See WrestleMania too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to me that you only pinpoint WWF, WWE as only the only company that's sports entertainment. And you look at the thing with Ted Turner saying, I'm in the wrestling business, and Vince McMahon goes, I'm in the entertainment business. But when you look at it, WCW was doing just as much entertainment, if you want to call it that, than WWF was. Yes, WWF did a lot of cartoonish characters,
Yeah.
and a lot of this and a lot of that. But when you look at WCW, and the wrestlers, you had rock stars, you had fucking football players. I mean, fuck, you had Glenn Danzig and Chud from the Misfits.
Yeah.
Join Vampiro. Maybe all of the Misfits.
I think so,
You
yeah.
know, you had Megadeth perform, you had Kiss perform. It's just like, okay, call WWF sports entertainment. But if WCW wasn't sports entertainment itself, then what the fuck was it?
Yeah. You got Luger in the Giant getting the win on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, again, trying to find these matches was
Yeah.
like pulling fucking teeth.
I know.
I mean, and that's the thing too. I don't think Hogan and Rodman won too many matches.
No, I don't think they did.
So, I mean, there wasn't really any point to that.
Yeah.
It's just fucking interesting to me. And then you want to go look at the thing with Jay Leno. It wasn't exactly, but it was almost reminiscent of Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler on David Letterman.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I mean, yes, in one way, I wish I was still a fan of WCW. On the other hand, I'm glad I didn't watch the product.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I saw bits and pieces. I just said that. But I didn't watch it as much as I did WWF. And yes, there was a large portion where I never watched WWF.
Yeah.
In between 94 to 98. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that this company at that time was still better. And I think they still had a lead up in WWF as far as the ratings.
Yeah. WCW at this point in time was still pretty good, but you know, at this point in time, 97 to 01, WCW was really on a downward spiral.
Yeah.
You look at WCW 96, even 95, and earlier, and even, go as far back as when it was Jim Crockett Promotions. The product was just so good.
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that, I mean, them bringing in the big stars, as you will, like Rodman, Karl Malone, or Jay Leno, was trying to help get eyes on the product and keep people interested, but things progressively just got worse and worse and worse. And then eventually the ship sank and the captain went down with the ship, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
It's too bad the violin player didn't go down with it. So, this is our first installment of Look Back at Year.
Yep.
I guess we'll just call it that. But we looked at 1997, or we start looking ahead. Next week we talk about Hardcore Heaven, ECW.
Yeah, Hardcore Heaven, ECW coming up. We've got Crown Jewel.
Yes.
We've got Dark Wrestling's big event of the year, Bound for Glory, coming up on the 23rd.
Yep.
And then we go in, and then we'll also fit in Hell.
Yeah, Cold as Hell.
Something like that for WWF.
And there's the British one. You know what? It's all gonna go up here anyway.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. Look forward to that. And so, for me, Matt, this is Killer Kyle. Anything else you want to add?
Definitely going to be a busy few weeks coming up. Doing for now, last two look back pay-per-views in '97. We got Crown Jewel coming up. We've got Bound for Glory coming up. Then we head into November, and we got Survivor Series coming up. We've got plans for that, and yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride.
Yeah. So we will talk to you next time. Deuces.
See ya!